Hey guys, this is going to be a chalk talk on the points of sail and proper sail trim. If you guys have any questions during the video, go ahead and put them down in the comments and we'll answer them on here, and then we'll also talk about them in practice. So when we talk about the points of sail, we use the analogy of a clock. So we have our times 12, 3, 6, and 9, and then everything in between. And then our wind always comes from the top of the board, from this 12 o'clock direction. So here's our wind. So let's start by talking about your point of sail that is at this 12 o'clock. So anywhere between 1 and 11 is what we call the no-go zone. So in the no-go zone, your boat's pointed directly into the wind, and that's going to make your sails act like a flag, and so they're just going to flap instead of catching wind. And so if you're ever moving backwards and your sails are flapping, you're probably in the no-go zone. The next point of sail is close hauled. So here you're going to be pointed at about 1 or 1:30, and then your sails are going to be pulled all the way in. So at close hauled, you're sailing as close to the wind as possible without going into the no-go zone. Next we have a beam reach, and this is what we do when we're lining up for tack on the whistle or jibe on the whistle. And so here you're going at either 3 or 9, which is directly across the wind, and your sails are going to be about halfway out, or you can think about you want your boom to be over the corner of your boat or a little farther. So this is your beam reach. Next we have a broad reach. So broad reach is your downwind angle. Both sails are going to be on the same side, and they're going to be almost all the way out. We want to remember with the boom on a broad reach, we don't want to let the boom all the way out so that it hits the side stay, that metal wire that holds up the mast. So we want to have it trimmed in just a little bit so that it's not up against that. That is our broad reach. And finally, we have our directly downwind angle. So we call this DDW. Right? And when we're going directly downwind, we're going to keep the main on the same side here. But our jib can't be on the same side as the main because the main is covering all the wind that the jib would be getting. So we're going to put the jib on the opposite side. And so that's where we get our wing-on-wing position. One thing we want to mention here is that when you're going directly downwind, you can either be on a starboard or a port tack, but going in the same direction. So here I'll draw for you, this is a starboard tacked boat, and right next to it is a port tacked boat. So if you notice that their booms are on different sides, their jibs are on different sides, but they're going in the same direction. And so this brings up a right-of-way rule talk that we'll go over later, but just keep in mind you can be going in the same direction, but on different jibes. One last thing we want to mention is that everything on the right side of the wind clock from 12 to 6 is going to be what we call port tack. And then everything on the left side is going to be starboard tack. So we'll go over this in a different chalk talk. But for now, just remember that the points of sail are the same for port and starboard. It's just the mirror image. Hope this helps, and we will see you practice.